Hey Warriors fans, Scott Warris and head football coach Eric Tresky getting ready for a Week 5 preview. Season is just about halfway over. It's crazy to think about. Coach, let's talk, before we talk about Rockford and homecoming, I'm going to get your thoughts on a couple other elements as well. It was a tough one last week up in Mequon as the Falcons retained the Luther Cup. The ability of your team to bounce back, I imagine that's a theme this week, to kind of learn from it, but then flush it and move on, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. In games like that, you try to help guys. It's kind of two focuses. One is to try to help guys see the good things that happen. I think sometimes you get so caught up in the score, the emotion of the game, or the disappointment. We really felt like we were ready to play, and we didn't play the way we were capable. So you try to help them to see the positives. Hey, there were still good things that we can draw from this. And then you challenge them. I think we're at a place in the season now where it's not new anymore. And a lot of the guys even express that, like, we want to be challenged, we want to be pushed. So you challenge them to play the level that they want to play at in practice. It has to happen throughout the week. It has to happen when you're watching film. My QBs were just meeting with us again over lunch. Like, you have to have a strong preparation for you to play that confident.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious because you said you can't just always focus on the negative and what went wrong in a game, whether you win or lose. So when it comes to film breakdown a day or two after, do you spend X number of minutes on, hey guys, here are some of the positive plays. Let's watch some of the good things that happened before you get to the stuff that you need to work on?
Yeah, so before we even get started, we always start with a team devotional, try to center ourselves back on, hey, what's a spiritual application of what we learned? And then the next thing that I do, I really feel this is important. If we want our guys to have a growth mindset, be willing to learn from our mistakes or our flaws. As a staff, we have to model that too, because we make mistakes as a staff all the time. And so first thing I do with our team is I say, hey, here's the 3 things as a staff. We agreed, like, we need to do this better for you guys in the future. I try to set the tone. And then the next thing is doing exactly what you said. We highlighted on the good things. The guys that demonstrated great effort, great leadership, great communication. This week I'll give an example. We have a Warrior of the Week, an honorary captain every week. And it's not necessarily a guy that makes the most plays. It's someone who's embodying what we want our team to be about. And this week's Warrior of the Week is a guy that didn't play a snap. Elijah Edwards is a freshman for us. Unfortunately hurt his thumb at the end of camp. But the way he led on the sideline, I saw him going up and down the sideline, hyping guys up, cheering guys up, encouraging each other. When things went bad, he was picking guys up. I saw him praying with the teammates. He's coming up to coaches, hey, coach, we got this. Like, he was doing everything he could in his power. He couldn't make a play that day physically, but he was going to do everything he could to make sure the team knew that he had their back, and that was impressive. So, yeah, we try to draw on that stuff.
And made more impressive by the fact that you said he's a freshman.
Yes.
I mean, here you have somebody who is first-year college player and taking on, in essence, a leadership role by doing those things.
Yep. We talk about that. Leadership is influence. It doesn't matter who you are, your title, or how old you are. Like, you have the ability to positively impact those around you.
Mm-hmm. I touched on film. Could you just, out of curiosity, give us just a real brief thumbnail of how does a week of preparation go? Okay, so you play a game on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and whether it's home or you bus back from a road game, are you and the staff in the office on Sunday breaking it down right away? And then how do things build towards the next Saturday?
Yeah, so that's one distinction I would say maybe with our staff versus others. Sunday is important to us to have a day of rest.
Sure.
I've got a lot of coaches with families, and even if they didn't, we want you to be able to go to church, be able to have that time. There's a lot of preparation.
Find that balance.
You have to, man. And there really isn't a balance during the season, but to me, at least to set aside that day. We all watch film on that day. We take notes on that day. We chat with each other over text and stuff. But it's, hey, like, do your prep work on your own and have family time. But then Monday morning, we go right away first thing in the morning, and we're reviewing everything that we learned from the game, the highs, the lows, everything in between, the adjustments we should have made or want to make in the future. And then it's you kind of feel like you're hitting the ground running. It's the joy of it as a coach, but it's also the grind of it. Is like, we're learning from the previous game, but I got to also gear my eyes towards this new opponent, right? So right away, as soon as we wrap that meeting up, they're all in on game plan mode for the next team. We've already started doing film breakdown the previous week, but yeah, we're prepping, and you have about from the end of that staff meeting to the first meeting with your team about the upcoming opponent, you have about 30 hours. So you have about 30 hours to craft the best possible game plan you can, because you don't want to be adding ingredients into the mix on Wednesday and Thursday. It's hard to rep things only once. Every once in a while you do that. But and then the team, we get a lot of film study on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, walkthrough times. One thing I think is so vital that doesn't get talked about is the scout team looks in preparation. It's what are your guys that maybe don't play a starting role, but what are they doing to help replicate what those guys that are going to play a lot of snaps do? And I'm thankful we have a great group of guys that they realize how important that is. They take that role serious, and we get a good look, and that's a huge part of it. So that's kind of a snapshot of how we do it. There's obviously a lot more intricacies, but don't want to bore you guys with that stuff.
No, you got to cram a lot into X number of hours. Okay, so this Saturday, Rockford comes to Robbie Stadium. It'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff. It's the annual homecoming celebration. And tell us a little bit about Rockford. I mean, they've got a veteran quarterback who is one of the top passers in terms of statistics and whatnot in the country, let alone in the conference, in Jalen Ray. And he's been a load for a lot of teams, and you kind of know who he is and what he is, but he keeps rolling.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. He leads the offense, does a great job, extends plays, tough to tackle, big kid, and he can throw the ball with some velocity. I think it all starts, I'm going to give credit to their coach. Coach Tolliver, I've always felt, does a nice job with their offense. He presents a lot of different looks, shifts, motions, all these. I think last year we defended somewhere around 24 or 25 formations in a game. Wow. If you play 80 to 90 plays, that's a lot. So he does a really good job of challenging your defense's alignments and assignments. And then they like to play man. They're a man-heavy team. I think it's been anywhere from half to 2/3 of the game they've been in man, these previous 4 opponents. So we're anticipating that. There's a lot of opportunity. I coach a quarterback camp this summer. We always tell the QBs, you don't just like man, you love man, because you're in control when you see man coverage. But there's some challenges with it. It's very much boom or bust, right? You can hit huge plays or you can feel out of rhythm. And so we've really practiced a lot of different ways to try to keep our offense on time this week. And it's going to be a great challenge. I know that they're a growing program. I know they're looking at this, kind of circling it, saying, hey, this is a chance for us to take our next step. And our guys feel kind of the same way. Hey, this is where we can get things right and get some momentum. So
definitely feels like a matchup of 2 hungry teams right now.
Yep.
Very much so.
Yep.
1 o'clock Saturday, Rockford at historic Robbie Stadium. We'll have all the links on the website as always, but there's no reason you shouldn't be there. Okay, before we go, we like to throw a question at Coach. As always, you can email your submissions, sports.info@wlc.edu, sports.info@wlc.edu. All right, Coach, we'll cap it off on this one from Mick in Tosa. How much do analytics play into your coaching philosophy?
There's definitely, I think, a degree of that. I think the way we view field position versus possessions, I'm sure there's people in the stands, why are they going for it? Some of those things. You're always trying to weigh out the probability of a team being able to drive the field and score relative to some of those decisions, especially when it comes to the punt game. And I think the other element is just as you go through your weekly prep, right? You're trying to use some of the numbers relative to run pass balance, field zone balance. Some of the calls that they make maybe down and distance. That's a very heavy tendency. You're trying to get into the mind of the play caller on the other side, and that plays a role, I think, in our prep. But what I think goes undervalued, and I was just talking about this with our men's basketball coach in the hallway, because Coach Ani, he's a good dude and good mentor, and he's talking about the undervalued aspect is the emotion of the game. Sometimes there's a decision that in your mind or that the data would tell you to make, but the momentum shift is going to dictate a different choice. I'll give an example from Saturday. Down 13-0, we come out the half. Jameel Gordon had a great day returning, had a big return to midfield. We drive the ball, 2 first downs. We're right in field goal range. It's 4th and 2. And we're right on that edge, right? It's going to be a push of a field goal. We got a great kicker, and I love Arnulfo. He's a good weapon. But you have to wager, in the previous 3 games, we had a block kick. And so do I want to put us at risk of potentially getting a block kick, or do I want, or what do I think our probability of getting the first down on 4th and 2 is? And I opted for the 4th and 2 because I felt like the momentum in the game, the last thing we need is a swing play where they feel like if we don't protect it the way we need to, and we hadn't the previous 3 weeks, they come and block it, now we feel defeated. You know, if you lose a 4th and 2, so be it, you go play more football. So that was one example where I'd say the data might have told me I wanted to go for a field goal, but I felt the momentum aspect of it would tell me otherwise. So.
But would you go for it on 4th down and a couple inside your own 30 with a lead in the 4th, like some NFL coaches would?
That's a bold strategy, as they say.
Good word. Bold strategy. Talking to you, Chargers Nation. All right, Eric Tresky and the Warriors take on Rockford Saturday at 1. Thanks as always, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.